Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Over the course of the last 30 days this Ramadan, we've had the chance to skim slightly over all 28 Ghazawat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as one Sariyah fought by the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum during the lifetime of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and one battle fought by the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. The purpose behind all of this was not to simply pass the time, nor was it to hear some bedtime story. Rather, the purpose was to bring us back to Islam in its totality. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam spelled it out for us clearly in a hadith when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "إِذَا تَبَايَعْتُمْ بِالْعِينَةِ," when you engage in the aina transaction, which is a form of riba. وَأَخَذْتُمْ أَذْنَابَ الْبَقَرِ, and you hold on to the tails of cows. In other words, you spend your days raising cattle. وَرَضِيتُمْ بِالزَّرْعِ, and you are pleased with farming, meaning you are satisfied with just doing this in life. وَتَرَكْتُمُ الْجِهَادِ, and you abandon jihad. And jihad here doesn't refer to going to work or school or changing your child's nappy. سَلَّطَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكُمْ ذُلًّا, Allah will make this grace constant upon you. And we see this today, where the once great and mighty Muslim Ummah now lives in oppression and disgrace under various kuffar. Then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ended off by saying, "La yanzi'uhu hatta tarji'u ila dinikum," that Allah will not remove this disgrace from you until you return back to your deen. And the deen being referred to here by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is jihad. That until you return to jihad, you will never be able to free yourselves from the shackles of oppression and disgrace. In the introduction to the series, we had heard how the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum used to consistently and continuously recount the Ghazawat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to their children, which is why they could produce a generation as remarkable as the Tabi'een. So the reason for having gone through the Ghazawat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to revive this practice in the Ummah, not just for us to have heard it going in by one ear and out the other. Take it upon yourselves, individually or collectively. Find yourself an alim, not one of the tujaruddin, scholars for dollars that will twist the seerah, but a true alim that you can do the Ghazawat in more detail with. Because this Ghazawat series hardly scratches the surface, so deep the topic really is. If a person were to go through all the Ghazawat again from a Quranic perspective, and you were to see the amount of ayat that Allah had revealed which relates to jihad, then you would be shocked and wonder, how come we've never heard these things before when such a huge portion of the Quran is clearly and inextricably linked to jihad? If you were to look at it from a hadith perspective, then you could speak for ages, seeing the amount of ahadith that relate to the various battles and the events that surround it, not to forget the virtues of jihad and shahada and everything else. And if you were to look at it from a fiqh perspective, then you would be dazzled by the plethora of rulings of the deen that emerged through the Ghazawat, not to mention the various laws relating to jihad itself. But even if not that advanced, and a person just went deeper into it from a seerah perspective, then you could dive into the depths of the lives of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum and picture the scenes in front of your eyes, seeing the victories and the difficulties that the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum underwent, and light the fire of jihad in your soul so that you can understand why the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum did what they did. If you cannot do this, then try and memorize the Ghazawat as best as possible so that you can pass it off on to the next generation. But if even this is not possible, then at the very least, let this audio series act as a means of recounting those Mubarak battles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In addition to this, there is not all that much information available in English, unfortunately, but at least a person could obtain a copy of Futuh al-Sham, Volume 1 and 2, the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum's conquest of Sham in Book 1, and Volume 2, which deals with the conquest of Egypt, Iraq and its surrounds. It may not be the battles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it is the battles of the beloved Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some people look upon the battles of the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum as if it's fiction or exaggeration, but the truth is that the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum were aware of the reality of Iman, and they could taste the sweetness of Shahada, hence why they sought to drink from its cup. Certain people today find this difficult to relate to, and this is no surprise because this problem too was told to us by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Yushikul umamu an tada'a alaykum kama tada'a al-akalatu ila qasa'atiha," that soon the nations will call each other to attack you the way people are called to share a plate of food. فقال قائل ومن قلة نحن يومئذ يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. A Sahabi asked, will it be due to our small numbers on that day, O Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم? قال بل أنتم يومئذ كثير. Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم replied, no, in fact on that day you will be many. ولكنكم غثاء كغثاء السيل, but you will be filth like the filth that is carried by flood water. ولا ينزعن الله من صدور عدوكم المهابة منكم ولا يقذفن الله في قلوبكم الوهن. As a result, Allah will remove the fear and awe of you out of the hearts of your enemies, and Allah will cast wahan into your hearts. قال قائل يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وما الوهن? A Sahabi then asked, يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, what is wahan? قال حب الدنيا وكراهية الموت. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam replied saying that it is the love for the world and a dislike for death. Today people are drowning in their chase after the dunya and they fear more than anything to lose their lives. You can take their deen and take everything else, just don't hurt them. There is a similar hadith to this, wherein Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained what wahan is in slightly different words, although the meaning is the same. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Hubbukum ad-dunya wa karahiyatukum al-qital." That wahan is your love for this world and your dislike for fighting jihad in the path of Allah. The solutions given by Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is and always will remain true and unchanging until the end of time. Thus, when the Mahdi comes, then he comes with jihad. And when Hazrat Isa alayhi salam returns to this world after all these years, then he too will come with jihad. Let us be clear about Islam and what jihad actually is in it. Jihad is not striving. Jihad is not going to work or using cold water to make wudu or things of that nature. Yes, it's a possible linguistic meaning of the word, the way that salah can also be used to refer to durood. But if any person says that the 5 daily salah is saying durood 5 times, then there is no question that such a person is a murtad kafir. So let it not be that the term jihad is taken away from its actual meaning in order to water the deen down for the sake of kuffar and murtadeen. Islam was once lived by this ummah. Then it was reduced to existing for the most part in books while being absent from practice. So let us not see Islam be destroyed before our very eyes and keep silent allowing it to happen. Let us be part of the solution, not part of the problem. There was a kafir who made a very true statement. He said, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. If you are not actively taking a role to preserve Islam, then essentially you are complicit in the destruction of Islam. Because each and every one of us are required to defend this deen. It's not something that is the duty of some people and not others. May Allah make this a reality in our lives and inculcate within us that same fervor for the deen that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum had. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. And as we go off to celebrate the day of Eid, let us not forget about the mujahideen around the world who instead of celebrating Eid at home with their families are instead spilling their blood so that the deen of Allah can be victorious. For verily Eid is not for the one who wears new clothes. Rather Eid is for the one who openly declares his tawheed and that fights the forces of kufr and shirk that seek to eradicate Islam. فليس العيد لمن لبس الجديد ولكن العيد لمن صدع بالتوحيد. فليس العيد لمن لبس الجديد ولكن العيد لمن كفر بالشرك والتنديد. فليس العيد لمن لبس الجديد ولكن العيد لمن جاهد أولياء الشرك والتنديد. والله غالب على أمره ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.